Welcome back to Wrestling World. We have a handful of topics to get into today regarding the Big Show, Sasha Banks, and more. But let's start things off with this huge, shocking news coming from the Big Show and AEW. By now, you definitely heard of AEW signing Big Show. It was an unexpected signing that felt like it just came out of nowhere, but everyone is trying to figure out what just happened and how did Big Show just jump ship to AEW. There's a lot of reports claiming a lot of different things, so let's try to break everything down and see what exactly happened here. Let's start off by reviewing Big Show's last year or so in WWE. Big Show, now 49 years old, was quite active a lot for WWE in 2020. He appeared on Raw after WrestleMania to challenge Drew McIntyre for the WWE title, but was unsuccessful in that match. He would then stick around briefly in the summer for a short feud with Randy Orton. However, Big Show was written off of TV after receiving a punt kick from Randy Orton during a July 2020 edition of Raw. That was Big Show's final match. But it wasn't his last appearance for WWE. Big Show showed up to attack Randy Orton at Clash of Champions, and he made his final WWE appearance on January 4th during Legends Night. Big Show didn't play a big role in the show, but he did have a backstage segment with Randy Orton, and everyone is looking at this segment as possibly being the reason why Big Show was frustrated with WWE. In this final WWE appearance for Big Show was made to look like a complete chump when getting confronted by Randy Orton. Randy Orton was basically calling him out, saying that he can't wrestle anymore, and all these other insults. And Big Show did absolutely nothing about Orton's comments. He just stood there and took it. This seems to be another bad habit for when it comes to the treatment of some legends. It's like they return on screen only to be made fun of and humiliated. Just like how Big Show, Mark Henry, and Ric Flair all got made fun of during Legends Night. How do they get embarrassed on a night that's supposed to be about showing appreciation to them? So everyone is looking at that segment right there as being the main reason why Big Show decided it was time to leave WWE and head over to AEW. The entire Big Show situation was kept so well under wraps that the WWE locker room wasn't aware that this big signing was about to happen at all. Everyone was commenting on the big signing, even Mick Foley, who had this to say: "Wishing the very best to my friend Paul Wight on his signing with AEW." I'm guessing the big fella thought he had done all there was to do in WWE, that he still had some gas left in the tank. The entire AEW locker room all responded to the news as well. They all seemed very excited to have Big Show join them. Big Show even reacted to the news himself and said that he was very excited. Fans were speculating about what Big Show's role will be with AEW. Some assumed that he may be a commentator or have a small role like that, but it's been confirmed that Big Show will be in fact wrestling for AEW. A lot of fans are excited to see what AEW does with Big Show, while other fans are criticizing AEW for going after all these older talents as of late. Some fans are being negative about the signing, but it's never a bad thing to bring in a very experienced veteran like Big Show into your locker room. You just think back to the long, amazing wrestling career that the Big Show has had, and he's been around for so long and has seen so much. He has decades upon decades of experience and knowledge. So just signing someone with as much of an amazing career and background as him is definitely a great move. Obviously, it seems like WWE no longer had any main use for Big Show, and he didn't appreciate how they really made him seem like a punk in his final WWE appearance. Like we mentioned before, if you go back and watch the segment from Raw Legends Night of Randy Orton and Big Show, you can see really how uncomfortable it is from Big Show's perspective. Randy Orton's character is basically begging Big Show to punch him or do anything to him, and Big Show does nothing at all. It really made you question, why didn't Big Show do something in that moment? Either way, what's done is done. Big Show is no longer a member of WWE and is now a member of the AEW roster. We already saw what AEW has done with Sting. There was some buzz and rumors about Sting going to AEW for a while, so it wasn't as much of a shocker as Big Show's signing was. But it was still a big moment when it finally happened. Sting even broke all merchandise records for AEW, so it shows that even going on age 62, Sting is still pulling in a lot of eyes and attention for AEW. Sting signed to AEW for a similar reason that the Big Show signed to AEW, and that's the fact that they weren't happy with how they went out. Sting had a devastating neck injury, but recovered and wanted to do something cinematic with Undertaker, but got denied. Big Show was fully healthy, yet the way WWE presented him on Legends Night made it seem like he was incapable of any physical activity at all. So you can sort of see his frustration. WWE and some fans view those wrestlers as being done, but they believe they have some fuel left in their tank, so they want to go somewhere that will give them a chance to finish off their careers on a good note. But are you excited to see the Big Show's AEW debut? Sasha Banks is no doubt one of the most popular WWE superstars on the roster right now. There's not many names that are bigger than her. But while speaking with Stone Cold Steve Austin, Sasha Banks revealed that the main roster locker room and the women that were already there when she arrived in 2015 weren't exactly that welcoming. She had this to say about the locker room environment in 2015. Tamina and Naomi, they took me under their wing and guided me so much. They made sure I was safe in the locker room, that I was protected always, after my matches and backstage, and they were the best. I feel like I was a part of one of the last of the big Shark Tank fret in the locker room, where you get a little, hey, put your bags in the shower. Don't know if I'm going to turn on the shower though. Put your bags in the toilet. It was like that. But those two girls took my bag out of the shower and gave me a spot every single week, and I'm so thankful. So that was quite the unbelievable reveal there by Sasha Banks. The women that were already on the main roster didn't even want to give Sasha Banks a place to put down her belongings and told her to put it in the shower or put it in the toilet. Sasha Banks didn't mention any of the names who was actually making her do this back then. The 2015 roster was basically the Bella Twins, Alicia Fox, Natalya, Paige, Summer Rae, and a few others. So it's still unknown who was actually responsible for forcing new superstars to put their belongings in the toilet. But thankfully, things in the locker room seem to have matured, and things like that are no longer an issue for the men or women in WWE. But it's still crazy to believe that all this was happening to Sasha Banks just a handful of years ago. The fans still want to know who was forcing Sasha Banks to go through this in the locker room. She obviously didn't say the name, but it was a woman in the mid-2015 roster for sure. But what are your thoughts on today's stories? What did you think of Big Show signing with AEW and Sasha Banks' reveal? Leave your comments, don't forget to subscribe with all notifications on, and leave a like if you enjoyed. Thanks for watching, guys.